Hi there, my name is Michaela Fedis Lalonde, and this is my ECS 210 learning video. The main focus of this course was curriculum. I thought I knew what that was, but boy was I wrong, sort of. It is the learning objectives, it is the outcomes and indicators, but it is so much more. It can be formal, which would be the multiple documents of planned program of objectives, content, learning experiences that is mandated by the Ministry of Education, but it can also be hidden, which is informal learnings that are not part of the explicit curricula. But that's not always a bad thing. I learned that there is also something called curriculum as taught, and curriculum as place, curriculum as learned, and I learned that there's so many ways to teach. And there's so many different learnings that will be had while teaching something else completely. And it brings me to the idea that schools are identity-forming institutions. They play a humongous role in the upbringing of these children. And as a teacher, it is very important to be aware of common sense and how that plays out in schools. How it enforces gender identity norms, and it enforces the status quo. Social norms, it's important to pay attention to common sense because following common sense could be oppressive. We could and are being oppressive without realizing it. It gives us a false sense of comfort because it becomes normal. There are other ways to think about curriculum as well, like curriculum as transmission. This would be the passing of knowledge. Curriculum as syllabus. It values content, and it's also the dead white guy's idea of knowledge. There's also curriculum as process. This isn't a physical thing or a series of steps. It's the interactions between student and teacher. It's not focused on test scores at all. It focuses on individual students and their process. There's also curriculum as praxis. This is the learning through experiences. It values social change and is committed to make society better. We were introduced to historical roots of curriculum, the traditionalists. We've come to understand now that memorization is not educational, but it was the basis of these methods. This way of teaching wanted a curriculum that would secure a place for the English canon of literature. Big thinkers were Ralph Tyler. Progressivism conflicted with the traditionalists for decades. This was child-centered and experiential, knowing by doing. It stressed the importance of creating good citizens. Big thinkers were John Dewey, Maria Montessori, Ralph Steiner of Waldorf School. Another movement, the Reconceptualists, this was a growing movement against the traditionalist view of curriculum. It began in the late 60s, and not a theory as much of a way of thinking. The belief was that the traditionalist view was dangerous. They stressed the importance of critical reflection and valued multiple ways of understanding the world. Big thinkers were William Piner, Maxine Greene, Duane Hubner. We also learned about critical pedagogy. This style of education has the aim of understanding what was going on behind the scenes. Who is influencing what gets taught? How does that affect the students? Who is being privileged by the teaching? Who is being oppressed? A big thinker of critical pedagogy was Paulo Freire. Connectivism. I really liked this quote by Will Richardson. Schools were built upon a fundamental premise that teachers and knowledge and information were scarce. That is no longer the reality. I think this sums up connectivism well. We have the internet now, and many learners will move into a variety of different, possibly unrelated fields over the course of their lifetime. Learning is a continual process lasting for a lifetime, and we need to prepare our students in this day and age to be able to be successful. My favorite topic of the course was treaty education, and I made the connection that the way my professors and guest speaker treated this subject directly impacted the way I learned about the subject. And this will be the case in the classroom when I am the teacher too. The skills and knowledge I learned about treaty education in this course will help me successfully teach treaty education in my classroom. We are all treaty people, and treaty education is for everyone. The last and funnest part of the class was lesson planning. Our group project was awesome, and it was a great experience, but it was also terrifying. I'm relieved to know that I'll receive more experience and help with lesson planning before I go out into the workforce. I learned that less is more, and to target one outcome and indicator. Thanks for watching!